How's it going, everybody? I've already got the giggles. Happy Monday. Happy Mambo Monday. Oh man. It's bigger than the wild blue yonder. Was the sync off on that?
Higher.
I guess that was the rip of it. I don't know. Oh, somebody just broke your stream. Okay. Works fine on my machine. I got some people to thank. Give me a second. There's a scam train in progress. 'Tis the season for scam trains. Governor Tory 5, thank you for the 10 months. Youth Worship Explosion, thank you for the 19. Red Mercer, thank you for the 30 months. Sophia Rose, thank you for the 16. Noman, thank you for the big 105. I didn't even know Daddy Mulk was on Music Diver. Shit, I gotta play that. I gotta get out to round 1. Darkman425, thank you for the 78 months. Shaxpert, thank you for the 54. And there were some biddies and tickets in there. Boot Blacking, thank you for the 50. Shaxpert, thank you for the 100. Shaxpert again with the 100. Daciati, thank you for the 100. Zinglon for the 100. Crash Cat for the 100. And I think that's it. Mambo, Mambo alerts are in the 100 bits, so... I figured I'd throw them in there, if nothing else. Probably take these off for a little bit. Hopefully I don't forget anything. Am I caught up? I think I'm caught up. Profit off our collective brain rot. Saltave, thank you for the 100 bits. And Semenosuke, thank you for the 99. Almost a 100 Mega Shock. And Shaxpert with another 100. Oh yeah, I changed the... I had the 100 Mega Shot going off after like everything over 100 months, but I kind of figured just leave that for the 100s, and because nobody else is getting their FHD gacha rolls over 100, so I changed it back. You know, the 100 Mambo Shock. We're all fucking brain rotted. I take full responsibility for this one. And yeah, thank you. I just like offhand mentioned that like last week, how I thought Mambo to the Neo Geo startup would be funny. And then Lele made 2 versions of the audio, and then Daciati made a video out of it. Let's do that again. Fantastic. It's so good. I love it. Anyway, no, it's not a, it's just a video file. You can't actually, I don't know, maybe you could hack it into a game. That's beyond my pay grade, though. Pray for Mambo. Anyway, yeah, it is Monday. Usually we do a full push to reject these days, but I decided to start doing what I'm considering a break week in between. Once we finish off one of these years, we're going to take a week in between to do 2 things. The first being to talk about the games in the next year that are not going to be featured on this stream, because I tend to yap for a while about these. I think there's going to be a lot of yapping tonight. Here comes the yapper. Because there's a lot to talk about with 1991, you know? And I guess like last time before we started 1990, I did like a we did like no miss attempts on games and did like channel point bets, and that's, and I don't think it went quite as well as I would have hoped. So we might try it again at some point, but I figure, you know, I skipped doing like any new 1cc's like the last couple weeks because one of those weeks I did a sellout stream, and then another week what did I do the other week? I guess I didn't do it. But I figure I got at least a few games I want to do. So we're going to do some new 1cc attempts. You may be surprised by a game or two. A couple of these I haven't, one of these I haven't streamed at all. You'll never guess it. So, did I miss anything? How's everybody doing? I think I'm caught up. What the hell? What the hell is a video game? We're putting our top researchers on it. Anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna... take a drink. I have to... We got a lot to talk about, because 1991 is a... that's a big year for the arcade market. Where do we begin? I should take better notes. Let me get my other. Don't start that just yet. There we go. Yeah, people can already guess where this is going, but we have to actually do it. Anyway, do I have? There we go. Put some Night Striker on in the background. As I tend to do. I gotta keep it a little low.
Stand by ready. Good luck.
Okay. Oh yeah, we gotta update the year. Here we go. 1991. So, made it too big. We are firmly in the 90s now. Nobody can make those clacks jokes anymore. We are past 1990. So, one of the things that really sticks with me when I was browsing through scans of Replay magazine before they got removed from Internet Archive, and what was the other one? Playmeter magazine. I stumbled upon an article where they were like asking arcade operators at the time what they thought of like the current state of the video game industry. Now, of course, everybody, depending on where you live, like everybody's going to have like different experiences with arcades. I live in the United States. I've always lived in the United States. That's where most of my experience comes from. People who watch the stream are they're from all over. Europe, South America, maybe even Asia. So everybody's experiences are different. I'm always speaking more from the North America side of things, because that's been my experience with seeing these games in the arcades and seeing how arcades changed over the years. Anyway, that article I saw, like they were asking arcade operators what they thought of like the current state of video games, because redemption games were starting to get bigger in the 90s, and that was starting to make up like more and more revenue for arcades, because, you know, they made money faster. Obviously, it's safe to say most of us, pretty much all of us, enjoy regular-ass video games more than redemption games. But, you know, redemption games were... they were just taking up more and more space in arcades, unfortunately. They were what made money. So they're asking operators what they think about the state of video games, and like a lot of them, they were all saying like, we wish it was like the early '80s. Like everybody was in agreement, or not everybody, but like there was a lot of statements about how like they missed like the early '80s, where there were like where arcades were huge, and there were so many super mega hit games that came out. Like you had Pac-Man, you had Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Donkey Kong, Centipede, Robotron 2084, Pole Position. Like there were so many games that came out that were like such big money makers. And then things kind of like things crashed in the North American market in like the mid '80s. Not just the everybody knows about the home video game crash, but even like the arcade side of things like kind of crashed a bit, because it got to the point where everybody was getting in on the arcade game craze, and you would see cabinets everywhere. You know, grocery stores, laundromats, movie theaters. And it got to the point where there were so many games, but not enough players like putting in money. And so like a lot of arcades died out. Yeah, oversaturation, that's the word I was looking for. Things got oversaturated, but of course, arcade games continued on through the '80s. You know, some arcades stuck it out. And hell, like a lot of places, like, you know, gas stations and stuff still would usually have like a couple arcade games. Like even going into the '90s, like they were still pretty common. You could still find them in a lot of places, which was cool. So everybody was losing faith in the video game market and turning their eyes more to redemption. But they all, not all, I keep saying all, like that was a thing, but I noticed that like a lot of them all said, there's one video game that was exceeded all our expectations, and that of course was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is like the third time I'm mentioning it in these pre-year roundup streams, because it came out late '89, and then it was just fucking huge for like all of 1990. Like Konami's TMNT was like the right game at the right time for to get in on the TMNT craze. Kids loved it. Arcade operators loved it because you had 4 turtles, you had 4 coin slots, and so they made so much money. And so those arcade operators said in that article, "We wish there were more games like that. We wish there were more games that were like guaranteed money." Nobody was ready for '91. Nobody was ready for the game that would dominate 1991. A game that could even possibly outdo TMNT's earnings. I mean, certainly there were expectations that, you know, this company's going to put out something good. All this build-up. What game could I be talking about? It's a huge mystery. That's right. Of course I'm talking about Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat, the follow-up to Iron Man Ivan Stewart's Off-Road from the Leyland Corporation. The the evolution everybody was expecting for for Super Off-Road. A game that affected me kind of personally. I've told that story before. How I had this I had somehow repressed this picture out of my mind where I got a picture with Danny Sullivan at I don't even know when this photo was taken, but yeah, we found this picture in in my mom's old storage unit when we were cleaning it out, because my dad was a general manager for a distribution company that handled Miller beer. And who was sponsored by Miller? Danny Sullivan. So yeah, get the kids together, get a picture with Danny Sullivan. And yeah, that was my sister on the that is my sister on the right. She's still alive. She's around. We had this picture this picture framed, and I had put it out of my memory until after it came up in MAME Roulette. Like, also, again, shoutouts to my to my cool drip, those cool ass shorts. We're on South Padre Island. It's the beach, you know. That sick watch I'm sporting. Hell yeah. Half Zubaz, yeah, exactly. Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat, the biggest hit of 1991. Do you believe it? Of course, I'm just fucking with you. Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat did come out in 1991, and it was a decent success for Leyland, but no. 1991, the year of Street Fighter II. Nobody could have predicted what would have happened with Street Fighter II. Like, I mean, there were maybe expectations. Because I mean, I'd played the original, but I didn't really think much of it at the time. It was kind of a goofy game. But when Street Fighter II came out, like, I specifically remember when it showed the first time I saw it at the local Gold Mine arcade at the mall. Like, there was just this crowd of people around it, and there was. I wanted to play it, but I just like kind of figured like everybody playing it like they were friends or something. And I didn't want to intervene, so I just went over and played some Neo Geo games instead. But it was just that cabinet was being played like the entire time I was there, because it would keep like a running count of what battle number you were on, and it would always be at battle 99. Like, it was being played from beginning to end. From when the arcade opened to when it closed. Like, I had never seen anything like that. Like, just. Yeah, usually it'd be stuck on Balrog stage, because every time one of the characters lost, like, it would move to another stage, and then once you got to Balrog stage, like, nobody could, unless somebody played against a computer, you weren't getting out of Balrog stage. And it was just, like... Eventually, like, I worked up the nerve to play it, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I got bodied. Like, this just brought in, like, a whole new era of, like... Up until now, like, it always felt like arcade games were... Like, you were playing against a computer. Like, you know, sometimes it'd be multiple people, like, playing against a computer. With sports games or whatever, you could play against each other. Like, that wasn't a new concept. Like, there were, and even Street Fighter 1 had like a player versus player feature, but like, you didn't really see it done that often. Yeah, Joust let players play competitively, for sure. Yeah, it wasn't the first game to have like player versus player competition, but just the lines that this generated for people having to wait to play. Like, I had never seen anything like that. And it was just... I wish I had a better appreciation for it at the time. Like, it kind of drives me nuts now that I didn't have much appreciation for it, because I wanted to play the computer. Like, I wanted to learn how to play the game. But I could never get on the cabinet. But yeah, depending on where you lived, like, any arcade that bought this was going to be making money. Like, Capcom, they could not keep up with the demand. If your arcade got it, like, they were going to be making so much money in 91, and it kept, like, such a stranglehold over the whole arcade industry in 91. Like, it just brought in so much money. It was, like, the top-rated game, like, pretty much no matter where you lived. Like, the game was just huge. No matter what country, even. Like, it was a goddamn phenomenon. And so, of course, this, it sent shockwaves throughout the entire industry, and we don't see the effects of this immediately, because all the other companies realized, damn, we gotta get a piece of that pie. We gotta start making our own fighting games. And so those you're not really gonna see until like 92 or 93. Like there's like a couple that'll show up in 91. But yeah, for 91, this was the game that like just dominated arcades. And I always thought it was kind of funny that at least in North America, like you didn't see like any mention of this in the magazines, because those were always more focused on home games. Like they would have some blurbs, like a half page or a page that talked about the game or whatever. But like it wasn't until like early '92, like EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, like they were like, damn, I mean everybody's, even we're playing Street Fighter 2. We should probably do articles about this, and like they were like the first U.S. magazine that actually like had like dedicated covers to it, like listed all the moves and all that. Had screenshots of everybody's normal moves and shit. Like they were ahead of the curve in that regard. And yeah, like things change a bit in '92 in terms of what happens to the Street Fighter franchise, but for '91, like this was the #1 game. Nothing could touch it. That's not to say there weren't other games in '91 that were big. That's the whole point of this part of the stream. But if you weren't there, if you didn't get to see Street Fighter 2 World Warrior in its prime, like it was a fucking sight to behold. Like just that cabinet being mobbed from beginning to end. Like one day I asked my mom like specifically to go to the mall at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Like I just wanted to get to the mall arcade like right when they opened, just so I would have some chance to play against the computer. And I think I got to play for like 2 minutes before somebody joined in. Like it was just, people were there to play Street Fighter. It was ridiculous. Photocopied the EGM guide and sold copies at school. That's some good hustle. Mostly it was Mortal Kombat like fatalities people were selling, but yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure. Street Fighter 2. What an important game in video game history. So Capcom, they released other things in '91 too that actually like did okay, right? Like the King of Dragons. Like maybe not a big mega hit, but it's mostly a known game. Probably more for the Super Nintendo port. Didn't have this in my local arcades. When I did play it, I didn't really think much of it at the time because you don't. It's a beat 'em up, but you don't have combos. Like most of your attacks are just like single attacks, and it just kind of felt, meh. It felt meh. Okay. I like it a lot more now because now I realize you can actually. How are you? You can play it as a Destroyer from Jail, like. Oh, VGCW with the raid. How's it going? What's up, Belmont? Thank you for the host. We're yapping about arcade games right now. Hope BWA went well. What was I saying? Yeah, King of Dragons, I like it a lot more. Capcom put out a lot of beat 'em ups in '91. Like they also put out Knights of the Round, which I thought was more closer to like what a regular beat 'em up was, because you had like traditional combos and stuff. I liked it a lot at the time. I don't think I like it as much now. I still haven't 1cc'd it. It's got all these weird secrets. Like getting you can get like extra lives by doing some weird arcane shit that I figured out a little bit of, but I still want to 1cc that. That's still on my list of stuff to do. It's not happening tonight, but yeah, not an accurate retelling of the Knights of the Round. Why isn't Artoria a female like in FGO? But yeah, it's an alright game. And then there was Capcom also put out Captain Commando, and that was the cabinet I saw at my local local gold mine with those pie buttons. And I never saw those again until like Galloping Ghost has a cabinet of it. Like I think there was a cabinet at that got brought out to Combo Breaker also. I mean, it was sold as a conversion kit and stuff like that, but yeah, they got those weird pie buttons where like, yeah, it's just this big round pie, and the left half is attack and the right half is jump. It's so fucking goofy. But yeah, Captain Commando was a short-lived mascot from those Capcom's NES manuals. Follow Captain Commando for all the latest game secrets, or whatever he said. And then they 90'd him up, made a beat 'em up out of it. It's an okay beat 'em up. It's kind of got some jank to it, but I've never seen a Final Fight cab with those pie buttons. But I remember they used like a cab with the pie buttons on that in an advertisement for like the Super Nintendo version of Final Fight, where like some kids are like picking up an arcade cabinet over their heads. Not the way to play the latest arcade games at home or whatever. And I just remember seeing that and thinking, I've never seen buttons like that on a Final Fight. But they did exist. Also, the other Captain Commando cab I saw was in a it was in a Dynamo 50 cabinet, so it didn't use any of those. Shoutouts to the Dynamo 50. Do I still have a picture of that? Yeah, that cabinet. That cabinet was like all over the place in like '92. At least around here. Like you had, it had like those 4 coin slots at the top, so it was like really good for 4-player games. And the control panel would be straight, so you wouldn't have to like stand at an angle if you wanted to play Mac the Knife or Baby Head or whatever. I like those cabinets a lot. At one point, my local arcade had like 4 of those. But yeah, there's and then they like disappeared. But those cabinets were awesome. I love those cabinets. What else did I didn't know if this like really counts for this series, but there was 3 Wonders, which was, I guess, Capcom's attempt to like, were they trying to compete with the Neo Geo and brag about, we got 3 games in 1 cabinet. I saw it a couple times. I mean, the games didn't really grab me that much. Like they were, I don't know if they just started developing Midnight Wanderers and they weren't really like confident in its ability to carry the experience, and then they made a shmup called Chariot, which continues the story. And then there's a completely unrelated puzzle game called Don't Pull, which is basically just Pango. I don't know, it's fine. Midnight Wanderers is probably the best of the lot. Chariot's, it's an okay shmup. Don't Pull. Don't ever fucking pull. No, it's not that bad. I just like saying don't pull. But anyway, the other big winner in 1991, of course, Konami was still making money. TMNT was still huge. They saw the formula. They were going to keep making games like that. And in early '91, they unleashed another franchise into arcades. Another case of picking up the right franchise, like right at the perfect time when it was blowing up. Everybody's played The Simpsons. Everybody's seen a Simpsons cab at some point. One of the most annoying attract modes when Bart and Lisa start screaming. So I have a funny story about this. Not really funny, more like sad. Where I lived in South Texas, I lived in the Rio Grande Valley, in Harlingen, Texas. We didn't have a Fox affiliate at the time. Like, the Fox network had only been around for like a few years, and our market was too small. So we didn't even have a Fox affiliate yet. When The Simpsons started airing, I don't think we got one until like I want to say like the fall of 93? 94? 93? I think it was 93. So we couldn't even watch the Simpsons show. And the local Goldmine arcade had the Simpsons arcade cabinet and the Simpsons pinball table. But anybody living in the area, like, they knew of the Simpsons, like, people were talking about it, like, things were being shown about it, but couldn't actually watch the show until we got a Fox affiliate. Although, our neighbors had a satellite dish. And we actually went over to their house a few times to watch the Simpsons there. They could watch the Simpsons. We didn't have any way to watch Fox at the time. But if you were living in bigger markets, yeah, you had Fox. But yeah, it took a few years for us to be able to watch it, and then by the time we had a Fox affiliate, that was when the show went into syndication, so we could actually watch all the old episodes, and they were on like five days a week and all that. I'm just talking about the show. Like I said, Simpsons, it was a big deal. It was a huge deal. The game made lots of money, even though this was another of those long-running cases of Konami trying to fuck over the North American market as much as they could. Because the Japanese version of The Simpsons is actually easier. You can store more health, but like the big thing is the bosses in the US version, they randomly, not randomly, but a lot of them when they do their attacks, they get iframes. They get invincibility frames when they do an attack, so they just hit you out of whatever you're doing. That doesn't happen in the Japanese version. That makes it a lot easier. The bosses are much more doable. I mean, the US version can still be 1cc'd, but you really gotta be on top of your game. I've never done it. Oh yeah, and they increased the amount of health all the bosses have. Yeah, it's... Oof. We didn't know how bad we had it. We were just shoveling in tokens, trying to save Maggie from Mr. Burns. We didn't know any better. And then, of course, how do you follow up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? They put out Turtles in Time in 1991 also. It was maybe not... I don't think it made as much money as the original TMNT. This game is more fondly remembered for its Super Nintendo version, which is a lot more consistent in gameplay. In terms of, like, being able to actually do stuff. Like, there's actual commands to do certain moves, which is nice. This is another case where the US version they inflated the boss health by a lot, so they wanted to keep those tokens coming in. But yeah, Turtles in Time I don't think was quite as spread out as the original, but it got out there. It still made money. Of course, Konami's gonna strike when the iron's hot, right? They had the license. We're gonna milk it. And they made a lot more home games that had varying levels of success. Like I said, the Super Nintendo version, much better game. Surprised it wasn't as big. Wonder what happened there. This game happened. That's the game that happened. I feel like Street Fighter 2 can be like attributed to like a lot of games failing at the time in arcade location tests and stuff. Took years for the 42069. How does it feel? I bet it feels great. And you know what else, like, Konami released in 1991? This game. Sunset Riders. Not a beat-em-up. I've heard people think of this as a beat-em-up because it's a 4-player cabinet. It's not a beat-em-up, it's a fucking run-and-gun. I don't know why people make that mistake sometimes, but... yeah, maybe not the the absolute biggest arcade hit, but it's pretty common. It was a pretty common game. It's another game that was in the it was in a Dynamo 50 cabinet at my local arcade, which was really nice because if you wanted to play as Cormano, like yeah, it was like one of those. You didn't have to like fucking lean to the side to play it. It was just straightforward, which was nice. But yeah, had a lot of fun with Sunset Riders. I actually did properly learn how to clear a loop of this, like, in the arcade. I played this a lot. I never did Loop 2 back in the day. I didn't do that until MAME. I was like, okay, I finished Loop 1, that's enough. Now I feel like the real game begins at Loop 2. And yeah, it got Genesis and Super Nintendo ports. The Genesis port is weird. Super Nintendo port looks more like the arcade, but it is not arcade perfect. For some reason, Chief Wigwam, formerly Chief Scalpum, is a fucking nightmare in that version. You gotta have like a specific strat for him. I don't know why they did that. Also, I don't know if I'm not including this in the games for 1991, but it was maybe not one of their biggest hits, but I gotta give a shout outs to Vendetta's side art. What a good cabinet. I did get to play this. I did see this a couple times. My first experience with this, I want to say it was when we were visiting our cousins in California. And I remember my cousin, like, excitedly... He wasn't telling me, he was telling, like, another friend who was, like, over at their house at the time. He's like, yeah, I played this game called Vendetta. It's awesome, man. You get to pick up a baseball bat and knock guys against the wall, and then they stand up and barf. And I overheard that. I'm like, wow, that sounds cool. And yeah, it's a cool game. It's a very... I think it's a fun beat-em-up. It's way better... Also known as Crime Fighters 2, by the way. The sequel to Crime Fighters, which... U.S. Crime Fighters was a fucking atrocity. But Vendetta didn't really get hit that hard in terms of, like, difficulty changes for the U.S. It's mostly the same. They just took out the hard gay enemies. And that's pretty much it. The falling condom sign? There's a falling welcome sign in the last level, right? But yeah, I like Vendetta. It plays a bit differently from the TMNT games, but it's pretty good. I like it. I enjoy it. Anyway, I do have to, I realized, like, later, there was a game that came out in, like, December 1990 that I missed when we were covering 1990 games, so I can make good now. Because it kind of felt like 1991 was also... maybe not as big a story as Street Fighter 2. It felt like 1991 was like the year companies decided to try Laserdisc games again. And so you had a company called American Laser Games that made a series of light gun games. The first such game being Mad Dog McCree, where you had, you're watching a Western, some guys pop out, you memorize where they are and shoot them, and then you realize there's some dude like way back in a window that you didn't see, and they killed you. Apparently distributed in Japan by Capcom. I thought that this shit looked fake. This looked like a Gunsmoke, like, AI edit. Of course, the gun is like... yeah, that's what the standard cabinets looked like. And yeah, the first time I saw it, like, they were like... it was $1 a play, right? Pretty expensive. They later released, like, these smaller versions, and this drove me nuts for a while, because... Ground Control had like a Virtual Cop 2 cabinet that was in one of those cabinets, and I couldn't place like what that cabinet was, and now I look at that and I'm like, oh yeah, it's the fucking American Laser Games cabinet. Where they put the picture like a few miles behind the glass so everything's harder to hit. So yeah, they were trying to. They made a bunch of games like this. Like also 19. Oop, not that one. Getting ahead of her. I forgot to put it. Who Shot Johnny Rock came out like after this, and that was. I think I might have seen that like once. But yeah, they certainly drew a crowd because everybody wanted to watch the movie. Everybody wanted to watch the stuntmen fall off the roofs of the houses and stuff. Yeah, I mean they at least have like different game, like you get to shoot people, so there's like, you know, sort of some gameplay for it. Also, like there were a shitload of home ports of these games, trying to bring the arcade experience home. Sure is fun controlling the crosshair with a pad. You still work with a guy called Johnny Rock? Damn. Anyway, 1991 was also the year that one of the original Laserdisc games got a sequel. The Leyland Corporation brought out Dragon Slayer 2, and it was actually like most of this game was like developed in '83, but like kind of got shelved because of just everybody getting sick of Laserdisc games and the hardware just breaking all the time. But they figured this is the time to try again. So they brought out Dragon Slayer 2, which is a hard-ass game. Because after like level 2, there's no checkpoints. So you make one fuck up, you have to do the entire stage over. This is another case where I saw somebody, I watched somebody like who knew the entire game, and it was pretty awesome to watch. But you know, you play the game yourself, like Daphne's mother-in-law beats the shit out of you with one of those rolling pins. I think eventually I was getting past stage 1, but like everything else, like, you know, there's they added like treasures that you had to find in each stage to actually like reach the final stage and all that. So even if you make it to the end, like you realize, oh, I missed one of the treasures, and now you have to do like one of the other stages again. It's a long game. It's a pretty long game for a Laserdisc game anyway. I have not done it for 1cc BBH. That's a lot of memorization involved. But yeah, I don't know why they thought I mean, the cabinets got out there. Like, they got pretty good distribution. I don't know how long the cabinets stayed up. I don't know, remember, like, my local arcade got this in '92. And I don't know how long it was there. Eventually those Laserdisc players, they're going to break down, but they were... But yeah, by '91 they were definitely more reliable by that point, yeah. They figured that it was the right time to try it again, but they hadn't really updated the gameplay. It's still just memorize, press a direction, press a button. And of course, '91 was also the year that this monstrosity came out. We gotta talk about Time Traveler. Oh man, what a this is Rick Dyer trying to make Dragon Slayer happen in hologram form. Go see the traitor. I mean, yeah, it basically plays like a Dragon Slayer. You got to memorize. You know, you face left, you shoot this guy, you duck to avoid that, you press up to jump. Got a preference, partner? Local Mall Arcade did get this. I remember it was 75 cents to start, and then like 50 cents to buy 3 additional time reversal cubes. I heard many stories about places charging $1 for this. And yeah, they were super like pushing this hard. There were like news stories about this that you can find on YouTube, like hyping this up. There are a lot of places charging $1. I guess we got lucky that it was 75 cents. I have actually 1cc this in MAME. It is in the 1cc BBA series. But yeah, it's one of those games that lives and dies by its gimmick of projecting the players, like projecting the characters onto the field, and you can pass your arm through it. The one with the weird, yeah, it shows a skull when you die, and you gotta use a time reversal cube. Poof! That wizard getting pissed off at you. The game actually cuts off continues near the end too. I can't believe Sega was doing that in 1991. But yeah, I don't think like many of these cabinets survived after the 90s. Like once they broke down, like they didn't. They had people playing it when the game came out, but then the gimmick kind of died out quick. There was an attempt to use those cabinets for a different kind of game. People are already talking about it, about Holosseum. That was like 93. 92, 93? We'll talk about it when the time comes. I don't want to talk about it now. I don't want to talk about that piece of shit. They both blow. I mean, this Time Traveler at least has funny stuff going on. Like, there is some funny things that happen in that game, like the stage in the future year of 1999 or whatever it is, where it's like post-apocalypse. But then there's like a thing where the cowboy shows up in the middle of a baseball game, and you have to duck the guy, like throwing the baseball. And then he just automatically shoots the pitcher and shoots the batter for... You don't even have to press a button for that. He just murders them in cold blood. What the fuck? It's so funny. There's definitely funny things to... I think it's worth a play, or at least worth a watch, just to see what happens in that stupid game. I didn't realize my music ran out. There we go. And yeah, Time Traveler was brought out by Sega, of all companies. What else did Sega release? Well, they got on the beat-em-up craze with Spider-Man the video game.
Good luck.
Not the greatest beat-em-up. It's alright. It's got big sprites. It's got Spider-Man's depressed walking animation, where it looks like he just wants to go home and go to bed. It features these weird side view stages where it scales down, and then it starts playing quartet music. It's very weird. It's another game where the US version is actually harder. The life drains faster than it did in the Japanese version, so I think like the only time I once see it was like the Japanese version, or the world version. The other three characters are Black Cat, Hawkeye, and Namor, the Submariner. Hawkeye gets around. He's in another game, which we haven't talked about yet. But I don't know, it's an alright game. I still see like Ground Control has a cabinet of this. Next Level Pinball has a cabinet of this too, right? There's a couple of them in the area. I don't know if this really qualifies for this, but Rail Chase. This is a game that you play for the ride. The seat like bumps up and down while you shoot people. While you shoot a ridiculous number of people. It got a sequel. It got a similar style game. There was a Jurassic Park game that came out a couple years later. I feel like this game is kind of known. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe it wasn't like super common, but I think it might have done better in Japan. Is this game even 1cc-able? I know Jurassic Park is like not 1cc'able on normal difficulty. Like you have to set it to easy to actually have a chance at 1cc'ing it. Those fucking quarter munching games. Speaking of quarter munching games. Sorry. I slip into the Doc Mac voice every now and then. 1991. You know what the biggest movie was in 1991? Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Midway got the rights to T2. And this game was everywhere. Most people that play this never get past like the first stage because it's it is a goddamn token eater. It's a very weird game compared to the movie because like 2/3 of the arcade game is based around the future. Like you're trying to like get back in time to like reprogram a T800 and send it back, and then there's the last 2 stages are just Cyberdyne and protecting those fucking escort missions where you have to protect the truck from the T-1000, the helicopter, and then the actual the last stage, the molten lava factory. But yeah, there were like this game like defaulted to like 50 cents a credit, and you can't play very long on 1 credit. The Foundry. I like Lava Factory better. Like if you're playing for free, yeah, you get to blow up lots of Terminators and lots of Hunter Killers and all that stuff. But it just feels like you stay in the future stages for like a long ass time, and so most people like never see past that. But yeah, this is Midway wanting to make as much money as possible, trying to stick to the axiom of we want average game time to be like 3 minutes or so. Oh yeah, they did release I think the pinball table came out first, right? We haven't been talking about pinball tables at all because we don't really cover pinball in these streams, but pinball was definitely evolving in the 90s too. Yeah, I like the pinball table. T2 as a game. Worth playing through once on free play if you can. Oh yeah, the Cyberdyne must destroy everything. You get a bad ending if you don't hit the quota for like destroying enough things in Cyberdyne while there's like all the cops shooting at you. There's man, Midway. What a bunch of fuckers. Yeah, also got ported to Super Nintendo, Genesis. Had support for the Super Scope 6 and the Menacer. They were trying. Also in 91 from Midway. Maybe not as big a hit, but they made a super high impact football. Also a bit of a money eater. Just like the original high impact football. Very good idiot game. Sort of the precursor to NFL Blitz, I guess. I didn't really see super high impact as much. I saw the local arcade did have high impact when it came out, but they didn't get super high impact. This is another game that's like it can be fun to play in MAME when you're not paying per play. Because otherwise, I don't think you usually don't get like a full quarter or full period for like a credit. What else was happening in 1991? One company that had a hell of a 1991. Our good friends at Data East. Carnovember may be over, but Data East lives on. They had to beat 'em up. There's Hawkeye again. Captain America and the Avengers. A very quotable video game. Extremely quotable. Also pretty 1cc'able. This is another game they had at the local arcade. They put it in a Dynamo 50. Polar Bear, thank you for the 46 months. Christmas, just 1 week away. Woohoo! And they did have this at the local mall, too. Yeah, this game was all over. I remember reading an interview that with Data East that said, like, you know, this game was aimed more for the international market, and it succeeded there. And they made way more money than they expected to make on this game. Like, they sold so many more Captain America and the Avengers cabinets than they expected. The home ports, though, don't play the home ports. I've tried them; they suck ass. You gotta get the actual arcade experience for this one. I didn't even like the Genesis port when I tried it. Also in 1991. Maybe not a gigantic arcade hit, but Joe and Mac, the Caveman Ninjas. Caveman Ninjas? They got their start with an arcade version. And that spawned a whole franchise on the home consoles. Cool Puppo, thank you for the 25 months. Much appreciated. Yeah, the Super Nintendo version is like a completely different game. It's more like fleshed out, a lot more fair as a game. The Genesis version tried to be an arcade port, but it was... I did the retro achievement set for it. It was kind of fucked up in some ways. Like, some parts were like really fucking hard. But yeah, they ended up getting like sequels that did not show up in the arcade. They just kept those to home consoles. Also in 1991, I guess it was like a year after RoboCop 2, the movie, right? RoboCop 2, the arcade game, maybe not as much fun as RoboCop 1. Kind of like the movie, but it's a destroyer from jail. Like, it's all right. I didn't like it that much at the time, but I think it's more fun now. Like, it was kind of fun to learn how to 1cc. We're sending you back to the scrap pile. Scrap pile. Yeah, for some reason it has a 2-player mode, which there's just a second RoboCop that's not explained. RoboCop and his brother RoboCop 2. Is that where the RoboCop 2 comes from? RoboCop 2, the movie, also fondly remembered for having a scene in an arcade that is comprised entirely of Data East games, or Data East logos, like, covering up other games. They have, like, a Sly Spy and a Midnight Resistance, and an actual footage of a Bandit cabinet, which didn't get released. Actual footage of a Bandit cabinet. Bandage cabinet? I can't speak. I'm already... My mind's already gone. But yeah, RoboCop 2... It's a cool game. I did get to play this when it was new. And one more Data East game that was not a mega hit in North America. I think this was more like of a more known like all over the world, or rather, Tumble Pop's a game that got bootlegged so much. A lot of companies from like South Korea and whatnot ended up bootlegging stuff off the Tumble Pop board and making their own individual single-screen games. It wasn't the first single-screen game. Like, it, you know, you had Bubble Bobble, you had Snow Brothers the year before. But Data East got really high on making single-screen platformers for a little bit, because they followed this up with yeah, I guess their Joe and Mac Returns was a single-screen game that was not ported. Also a game called Diet Go-Go. So they made a few of these. You did it. But yeah, not a game I saw back in the day. I didn't know like how big it was until emulators. But it feels like we can't really include it in this series since it's it spawns so many things afterwards, right? Is that the way to look at it? Wait a minute, I need to check something. Alright, whatever. Getting sidetracked. Okay, Atari. Atari had a couple games that were, a couple games in big-ass cabinets. Like Road Riot 4-wheel drive. Saw this a few times. It had these seats that would make a loud pop when you got shot because you were driving like these Jeeps, but you had guns and you could shoot the other dudes. They wouldn't blow up, but they'd get slowed down. It's never that big on this game though. Yeah, somehow got a port. I don't think I've seen one of these in a hot minute. Also, another game that this one I did see at the local arcade back in the day. Steel Talons. Very complicated game to try to control and maim. Because it's got like a... it's got a stick that like... it's got a regular like joystick. It's also got an altitude meter on the left. It's got these pedals that your feet go to like make the helicopter turn. It's got ported to the Genesis and the Lynx. It's got an Atari Lynx port. Also seems like a game that it always felt like no matter how well you play, like you're not going to have enough fuel. Like they wanted you to keep putting in money. I don't even know if it can be 1cc'd. But it's a fun cabinet to like actually like sit in and play. Like you have to. I'm glad I got to play it on the actual cabinet at least once. It's an alright game. And speaking of games where the cabinet experience is important, Namco was finally getting their shit together and actually distributing games themselves in North America, because like up to this point, a lot of Namco's games were going through other companies. Like they had Atari distributing a lot of their stuff. Midway distributed like Pac-Man and stuff, but it was mostly Atari. I think by like the end of 1990 or early 91, like they finally started distributing the games themselves, and right on time to make Starblade. This is a game you have to play on cabinet. It got a ton of ports. It got ports that ported to like the PlayStation. You can play it at the beginning of Tekken 5 on the PS2. You have to have the arcade experience for Starblade. It is one of the coolest cabinets, in my opinion, because of the it's got like this weird concave monitor that like the monitor's like you're just like sitting there like looking all around. You got lights like flashing when you take damage. There's speakers behind you crackling. This is team leader. This is team leader. You attack the port, Geosword. I'll attack the starboard. Over. It is just... It's a game that the cabinet experience like defines it. When you play like one of the home versions, like, yeah, you're just moving a crosshair around and shooting. It's not the most exciting game, unfortunately. But there's something very special about the cabinet experience with this. And always remember that. Galloping Ghost did have this, but I think like the monitor was like kinda dim. Maybe they fixed it since then. Maybe they got Master Tech Doug Fox. Doug Walker? What's his name? But yeah, it's a shame that These cabinets were huge. They took up a lot of space, so once they stopped making money, they disappeared from arcades. And consider yourself lucky if you can find one nowadays. There's very few out there. What else we got? Let's some odds and ends. I did get to play the Deluxe Galaxy Force 2 at the at the Starcade in Disneyland when we were visiting California in like 90, 91. I did get to play the deluxe version that rotates around. Pretty sick. Anyway, a few other games. Technos. They had a follow-up to WWF Superstars. They made WWF WrestleFest. A much nicer looking rest game. Very big detailed sprites. 4-player action. Has a Hulk Hogan jump scare where he asks you for more money. Which is pretty funny. Yeah, this game got a lot of distribution. Very very beloved game. Poop in my gym, brother. 1 Gorilla Press. I think this game was like kind of a pain to 1cc. Couldn't even find a picture of this cabinet, but IREM had my local arcade had Gun Force. It got out to like a decent number of arcades, I would say. IREM's American distribution was like maybe not so great. Also, yeah, it's not just Gun Force, it's Gun Force. Battlefire Engulfed Terror Island. You gotta say the entire title. It's a pretty decent Contra clone. Got ported to the Super Nintendo, and it fucking sucks ass. It runs so goddamn slow. Like if you just keep walking to the right, like the screen can't keep up, and you have to wait for it to slowly move. It sucks ass. But the arcade game, it's all right. It's a pretty decent Contra clone. Got a sequel later that may be featured in this series because a lot of people didn't see it. Don't even start. So, just due to the fact that that Video Systems Power Spikes 91 got bootlegged so much. Like a bunch of companies like bootlegged this game and made their own shitty volleyball games out of it. I feel like this is exempt from this series. I really don't like volleyball video games for the most part, so I'm not really a fan of this. So maybe it's for the best that I don't say anything about this. Yeah, it's a volleyball game, but you can't. It's on like a single plane. Like most of these are like belt scrolling, like you can move up and down, but here it's just like it's just flat, left and right. Yeah, put Captain Waffle. Make him spike the volleyball. It got a Neo Geo sequel later, which was also pretty bad. Also another game you definitely did not see in the US, but went on to bigger and better things. Cotton. I drink a pint of milk a day. Thank you for the 91 months. That's a lot of months. Thank you very much for the resub. This game spawned so many sequels, more sequels that are still coming out to this day. Like there have been new Cotton games that have been made in like recent years, and they're not bad either. So it was a bigger deal in Japan. US didn't really get to experience it, but definitely a important game. Yeah, Cotton Fantastic Night Dreams. Get the full title in there. So as we move on through the years, I'm always aware that there's like certain games that have sort of seen resurgences in interest thanks to emulators. And I feel like some Taito games, there's a few Taito games that qualify for that, like, you probably didn't see Warrior Blade Rastan Saga Episode 3. Dual screen beat 'em up. Very interesting presentation. Kind of a weird game because you can run past like a lot of enemies in this game and just go straight to the boss a lot of the time. Only cabinet I've ever seen of this was at Galloping Ghost. Rika. Hold on, cat's meowing. Rika, what are you doing? Hey. She knew I wanted to get her on stream. Also, I know some people are going to be disappointed, but we're not going to cover Metal Black in this series because it's sort of seen a cult following from shmup fans. I feel like a lot of these shmup games are going to get skipped because like all the cave stuff is going to get skipped because everybody knows cave games now. And some people are just very enthusiastic about Metal Black. I've always been kind of about it. Great presentation. I'm not really the biggest fan of how it plays. It does have a good cat at the end, though. And of course, there's Pularula. I just decided to grab a screenshot selected entirely at random. You definitely didn't see a cabinet of this back in the day. It is a very weird beat 'em up, but it's very memorable, extremely memorable, for reasons. All right, now we got to do a. I guess I have to do this every year too. We got to do a Neo Geo roundup because I want to go very, very quickly through the Neo Geo games released in 1991. I'm trying not to include Neo Geo games in this series because I did an entire Neo Geo series called Neo Rank Masters where I talked about every Neo Geo game in great length. So let's just go through these pretty quickly. Ghost Pilots. Don't play this. It's okay for like 1 credit, but the longer it goes, the more you want it to be over. Don't play Ghost Pilots. The first Sengoku. Some people are very passionate about this game. I feel like it's a beat 'em up where you have to memorize everything, and it's not that fun. The Neo Geo did not have very good luck with beat 'em ups. King of the Monsters, though. King of the Monsters is a cool game. Wrestling with Godzilla and the like. It can be 1cc'd. There are strats to 1cc this when I actually learned the strats to this from watching somebody at the arcade who knew how to play it. Yeah, maybe not the most fun thing in the world to 1cc, but I don't know, there's some satisfaction to it. I like it anyway. Blues Journey. A weird side-scroller with really good English. The first time I saw this, there was it was set on difficulty level 8, so you only had 1 hit point instead of 2. And I just thought that's how the game was. Like, it was just a 1 hit and you die game. I had no idea you're supposed to have 2 hit points. Boole took the torch. Do you believe it? Alpha Mission 2. Not my favorite shmup. Neo Geo kind of had a rough 1991, huh? It's a very long game. Like, one loop of this is like 45 minutes, which is kind of long for a shmup. That second stage goes on forever. I keep saying, like, I want to 1cc this just to say I've done it, just to have it in the list, but there's so much to learn for this fucking game. Don't bother. Burning Fight, the game that gave us Duffy. Another case of SNK not really understanding what makes a good beat 'em up. You die really fast in this game. Everybody does a shitload of damage. Your Super Joy takes off like 30% of your health. Enemies get lots of iframes when they attack you, like those annoying chain guys that jump at you. I still want to 1cc this piece of shit, too. I've been saying that for a while, too. I want to 1cc this garbage. But that requires, like, actually playing the game. Yeah, Duke would actually show up as a striker in KOF 2000 for some reason. Yeah, you do get to see the sights of Osaka. Like, it's SNK's love letter to Osaka. You get to go to the underground shopping area and ride an elevator. I don't know. Definitely not as good. I'm a Neo Geo fanboy, but I can't defend this game. What else? 8-Man. Kind of a weird platformer slash beat 'em up. Kind of. I feel like this game is kind of misunderstood. Like, there are some fun 1cc strats for this game that all involve the split kick. Hit A and B together to do the split kick. There's fun tech in this because you can do a standing split kick, and then you can crouch cancel it and do a crouching split kick, and then stand up, and that cancels that recovery. So you can keep doing it over and over, and that does like way more damage than your regular attack. I think it's a fun game when you learn the tech. I will always recommend this game for 1cc purposes, because it's I think it's a fun game to learn. I don't expect many people to agree with me, but that's where I stand. I think it's all right. Yeah, they were like making a new 8-Man anime, and they decided this was the time to bring it back because yeah, it was an old ass anime. Oh god. Yeah. Where did this marquee even come from? I thought this didn't get an English release. Was this like fan-made? Man, I can't believe I actually 1cC'd this. This is like one of those games... Nobody played this back in the day, unless you lived in Japan. But if you were like trying stuff out in Neo Rage or Kawax or Nebula or whatever, and just see all the Neo Geo games, Legend of Success Joe, let me try that. And then you play it for like 2 minutes. Oh. That's what this is, huh? Joe provoked a ruffian. Should that be in this series? I don't want to fucking cover it. Fuck it. Next game. Cross Swords. I thought this game looked cool as shit when when it came out. I guess because I was in my RPG kick, and I was like, oh wow, it's sort of like an arcade RPG. And it's kind of like Punch-Out. Oh, it's cool. Then you find out the game is fucking impossible if you don't have the strats. Like a lot of enemies just fucking destroy you. I did finally 1cC this though. It was game number 650. There was a lot of learning for this because that one credit lasts over an hour. Some people can do it faster. I think Funk Dog did it in like 46 minutes or something. It's definitely a game that didn't age as well as I would have hoped. It's a lot you gotta learn for it. Hey, Super Baseball 2020. That's a good game. Minus the Minus the fact that if you're playing it on MVS, it's asking for money every few minutes, but that's kind of standard for arcade baseball games. Super fun game though. It is a good mixture of baseball with robots. You get the new you get to buy power-ups. There are landmines on the field. It's pretty fun. I like it. Robo Army. Man, 1991 was a cursed year for Neo Geo beat-em-ups, huh? I did eventually learn how to 1cc this. And now I think I like it a little more than I used to, but one of the most fucked up final bosses I've ever seen in a beat-em-up. Like, there is... I tried to lab that shit for hours. I cannot figure out anything for that final boss. Like, my only strat is get there with enough lives that you're gonna... to tank the deaths you're gonna take on that motherfucker. Yeah, SNK also fucking loves this game. Rocky's in the... Or no, not Rocky. Maxima's in the background of... Or is it both of them? They're both in the background of Neo Geo Battle Coliseum? Yeah, it's a very... You die really quick in this game. Like, you have 5 hit points, and a lot of enemies do 2 hit points of damage. It's unhinged. But it is 1cc'able. So I respect it a little more than I used to. Thrash Rally. Also known as Trash Rally. SNK's second attempt at a racing game on the Neo Geo. Worked out better than... also, I guess this was 80K, not SNK. Worked out better than Riding Hero. It's a top-down racing game. One of the modes is really fucking hard as shit, though. The main, like, World Tour mode or whatever. I still haven't been able to, like, finish that mode on 1 credit. I don't think it's great. I think Neo Drift Out and Overtop are way better. But those came out, like, 5 years later. We're in 1991. And, of course, one more Neo Geo game in 1991. Fatal Fury? This game's not going on to anything after this. That's the only Fatal Fury they made. I don't see a bright future for this game. I mean, this game was technically in development before Street Fighter 2 like was released, and was developed by what is his fucking name? Takashi Nishiyama, who was actually like the main designer for Street Fighter 1. Like, he went to SNK. But this came out in, like, what was it, November of 91, and Street Fighter 2 was like February of 91. So I want to say, like, after Street Fighter 2 came out, like, they might have, like, quickly retooled some things. Because, yeah, the original Fatal Fury has, like, some weird concepts. Like, you can team up with 2 players against a computer, and then the 2 players get to fight each other after that. Yeah, it seemed like it was going to be like a Street Smart follow-up. I base this off the fact that it fucking plays the Street Smart theme if you get the special credits for, like, 1cc in the game. The first time I saw this was at a bowling alley. They had it right next to a league bowling, of all things. It's very funny to have a league bowling at a bowling alley. But, I thought it was cool, but, like... yeah, there's only 3 characters to pick from. And... the engine is not really, like, as refined as Street Fighter 2. Like, there's no combos. Like, you hit somebody, but then they recover before you can hit them again. A button, mostly punching. B button, mostly kicking. I love when my button is mostly one of one thing. So there were only 3 characters. You couldn't pick the same character, and people quickly figured out that if you picked Andy and just mashed the joystick back and forth with the A button, he would do an elbow attack that was pretty hard to stop. So basically, whoever got to Andy first was gonna run the cabinet. I mean, they didn't anticipate like 8 characters being in Street Fighter 2, so they didn't have many many characters to pick from. So I feel like this game was like, it was, for most arcade goers, it was a quick diversion when the Street Fighter 2 cabinet was too busy. But it didn't have any long-term appeal. Obviously, the series would go on to bigger and better things. A very, very humble beginning. Honestly, I mean, I can kind of have fun, like, just playing this against computer. Like, it's... all the special moves do, like, 30% damage. So there's, like, this weird satisfaction with, like, getting them in loops and trying to get as many perfects as possible. Like, it's kind of a fun game to play for score. So I kind of enjoy it. But it's a very... I'm not going to... I don't know. Oh yeah, they changed a lot of the... not a lot, but some of the moves from like the Japanese BIOS to the US BIOS. Like, Andy's Fireball is actually quarter circle forward plus A. Instead of... no, wait. Yeah. Wait. They changed it to quarter circle forward plus A in the US version, but it's quarter circle back in the Japanese version? Something like that. I'm completely forgetting. But they changed stuff for no reason. But yeah, obviously the game's gonna get sequels. Oh yeah, this confused the shit out of me the first time I played it because like they for whatever reason they hadn't set the calendar option on the cabinet, because it's supposed to, when you beat Geese Howard in that game, it's supposed to say like Geese Howard died in the hospital on this day. It's supposed to like print the day. And it said like January 7th, 1900, Geese Howard died in the hospital. I'm like, whoa, 1900? This game took place in the past, but there were like cars and stuff. What? Confused the fuck out of me. Yeah, it turns out the game is not Y2K compliant when played on a US BIOS. In Japan, like, it prints the 2000s up to like the year 2089, but or 2090 or something, but for the US BIOS they didn't actually test it, so if the MVS is set to 00, it thinks the year is 1900 instead of 2000. Which is they kept that bug throughout all the Fatal Fury games up to like Fatal Fury 3, which caused the game to like actually crash on the US. We're getting way ahead of ourselves. But yeah, they obviously went on to bigger and better things. Damn, I've been yapping for a while. It's already 6:30. Man, like I said, there was a lot to cover here. That's hopefully a good summary of what the arcade industry was like by the year 1991 and the things that happened in 1991. Next week we will start covering stuff from games you might not have seen in 1991. There's a decent number of games. Let me go back to the screen real quick. I'd say there's a good selection. You're probably not going to see many